Today is one of those days where it's a multitask day. I'm going to do some pinto beans. I do 1 cup of rinsed dry beans. I add 2 teaspoons of salt and water, and I pressure at 15 pounds for an hour. Then I'll get bread started, and then we'll start painting, because every homestead has to have a way to make money at home. And what Zeb and I do is we're antique dealers and junkers. We have a store and a website, and so I have to paint stuff that we sell every week. We are Zeb and Jami Ray. We have a retail store that we use for our antique store that has half an acre. And because we live in the city and we only have a 1/4 acre for our house, we use the half acre for our homesteading. We grow enough food for our family that we preserve in the winter. And we also keep our livestock here. We have 2 sheep and a bunch of chickens. And recently, our neighbor allowed us to put a milking cow in their backyard. So it's been a fun adventure for us, but it's also been really fun to see how we can take whatever space we've been given and turn it into food. Like, we made sure when we planted trees that they were fruit-bearing trees, so that way we could eat the fruit, can the fruit, and then when we needed a hedge, we added berries. I think sometimes it's not about having acres and acres, it's about using the land you have in the best way possible.
We've got some big green areas that needed some help. We rototilled this up, cleaned it all up, and grew quite a large garden. It's about 1,000 square feet. This coming spring, we want to add even more garden over where the sheep and chickens are now, and we're going to move the sheep and chickens because they'll still have plenty of room where the garden was and grow even more food. Because for us, we really love to know where our food is coming from. Locally organic grown food from our own garden is really the best option for us. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease back in last June, and it's really important that I eat as clean as I can to stay off of as many meds as I can. I'm trying to take less medication and just combat it with what I eat. And so far, it's helped quite a bit to mostly eat out of the garden.
So the zucchini plants were really showing off today, but look at the pile of carrots. That's 1 row, and I got 2 rows to go. I thought I was just gonna pick one, and then all of a sudden the whole row is gone. But I'm gonna replant, and my broccoli maybe will start to get a little bigger. Zeb and I, in our younger married years, did lots of gardens and canning, but as our business grew, we kind of stepped away from that for a while. And with all the different things going on in the world, we decided that this was something that we needed to bring back into our lives. And lucky for us, this property came at the right time. We needed to landscape it anyway, so it was something pretty for our customers to look at. And I just thought, what better way to landscape than to have something that we can eat that's also beautiful and hopefully inspiring to everybody that comes, that no matter what their living circumstances, they can use whatever land they have to grow a bit of food to eat. In addition to growing a big garden, Zeb and I are also really big on preserving. I've actually been canning food most of our married life. I started with pinto beans and then kind of went from there. And so we preserved as much food as we had time for. The problem is this garden went in at the same time we were renovating the shop. And then we had to get our shop open, and then football season started. So we didn't get as much done as we wanted to, but we spent a lot of evenings and weekends canning and also using our freeze dryer. The freeze dryer is just a really easy way to preserve food, and it lasts for a really long time. And anytime anybody has extra food, like we had a neighbor that had a bunch of bananas, we can freeze dry them and preserve them for another day. Sustainability is important to us, and so we typically use heirloom seeds and we preserve them from year over year, especially the plants that we really love. So actually this year when we put our garden in, we already have seeds ready to go, and we'll just order some new ones for some differing plants that we wanted to try out. As far as livestock go, chickens are definitely a gateway animal. We started with some cute bantam chickens, and now we have a flock of 34 chickens. We owned 2 sheep, 3 ducks, and Zeb recently got a milking cow. I would say for now our flock is complete unless we are able to somehow acquire more land, because we definitely filled out all the property and our neighbor's property, because that's where our cow lives. Be nice.
In November, we added a Jersey milking cow. She's just a little 700-pound cow, gives about 2.5 gallons of milk a day, but our daughter is very lactose intolerant. And something special about some Jersey cows is they have an A2A2 protein, which helps with that lactose intolerance. And so far, our daughter has been able to eat all of the dairy products without any issues. All right, so we've just got done milking Buttercup, and I am straining the milk. We got doubled up cheesecloth here. I found that it's worked pretty well. Then we'll put this in the fridge for at least overnight, but if we let it sit 24 hours, that cream really rises to the top. She swished her tail a lot tonight, so there's a lot of funky stuff in here we gotta get out. I'm pulling the mozzarella to make it stringy this time. It's like taffy.
We try really hard to make most of our meals from scratch, but one of my favorite things is being able to make meals where so many things are sourced from our garden or cheese from the cow. I do make all of the bread products that we eat pretty much because Zeb has Hashimoto's. He cannot tolerate gluten, but he can tolerate kamut. Kamut flour is an ancient grain. It does have gluten in it, but it's higher protein and it's not been modified the way that traditional modern grain has been. We use it for everything, including pasta. It's been really fun to explore this and try new things. Sometimes it doesn't turn out perfectly, but we're not afraid of doing things that don't turn out right. Like, I'm not gonna cry or not eat my food if my bread isn't perfectly risen or crunchy the way I want it to be. I just want to try new things and have fun while we're making a living and raising a family. I think that's really what homesteading is. It doesn't mean that you have to have everything off the grid or you have to do everything from scratch. You just do what you can for your family and try new things and get a little bit more sustainable, one loaf at a time. Stay tuned as we finally write down some of our family recipes that people have been begging for and we just cook from memory, and we will share along with you the good stuff.
In case you were wondering, our little half-acre homestead farm situation is not all pretty loaves of bread and canned food and freeze-dried treats. There's a lot of extra work that goes into it, and I actually really love that we get to involve the kids in this. It's teaching them some valuable skills and how to be responsible and take care of the animals and the plants in the garden that we have. We had a really beautiful garden back here this summer, but winter came super quick and we were not expecting snow as early as it was, and then we got busy and did not get in here to clean it out. Got the boys here today. They're gonna pull all the tomato cages out. We're actually gonna move the chickens over here and do the garden where the chickens are right now and the sheep. And there's Buttercup, that's where she hangs out. But we're gonna pull the tomato cages out and then some of the rest of these sticks for the bean poles, and we'll probably get rid of all the bean pole beans because they're not great for chickens. And then we're gonna let them come over here and have a field day on all these plants, and they'll clear this out for us. So easiest way to do it is just pull them straight up. Yeah, you might have some vines you got to pull off.
Cut off.
If you pull up the tomato plants with it, that'll be all right.
Yeah, because they're dead.
Yep. So if you get the bottom up, you can probably pull them out because we need to save all these cages because we're going to need them next year. So careful as you can, pull them out and stack them over there so that we can put them together. You getting them out?
Yes.
How many do you have over here? About 10 cages?
Yeah.
There's still quite a few cages in there, huh?
It's a lot. We planted like 50 tomato seeds.
I know. More than that, huh?
Yeah.
But you've been enjoying them. You like the tomatoes in the pasta, don't you? You like them canned, right?
Yeah, I don't like them raw.
You don't like raw tomatoes?
Yeah.
Because you're weird?
I'm not weird.
There's a lot of people that don't like tomatoes. It's not all hard work around here. We have 5 children and we like to go out and do a lot of fun things and play hard too.
This year we went hunting for the first time in a long time, and in the future you can expect for some lessons on how to sustain and process your own meat, including wild game.